Hi, and welcome back to Tech Your Game. Today, we're going to talk about how you can use Google Forms to get your team roster and anything else you need to know into a spreadsheet without any input on your part. That's what's next on Tech Your Game. And once again, we're back and we're going to talk about how to use Google Forms. And today, within Google Forms, Google Drive, to get to Google Forms, you're going to go to the New menu after you log into your Drive. You're going to come down here to where it says More, and you're going to click on Google Forms. Now, before you just open up a blank form and get all confused, we're going to click over here and we're going to look at From a Template. Because today what we're talking about is getting a roster together. And Google Forms already has some pre-made professional templates available for you. And here they are. Everything from contact information, which is what essentially we're looking for. Okay, another contact information on the person here. Same one. Job applications, customer feedback, which we're going to talk about in another tutorial. Assessments, course evaluations, all kinds of things, really tailored to meet your needs. Okay, so we're going to click on contact information. We're going to open up this template. Now, what you need to know about templates, like any other template, you can use it and you can also modify it. Okay, so we're going to create a new form using the template. And contact information is what we're looking for, but really, we're looking for a whole lot more. What you have to think about is what all individual items may you be asked in some point in the future from a tournament director, the school, any organization where your team's going to go compete. And you want each piece of information to have its own home so that when you go to tailor what you give to other people, an announcer or another stadium, you can just pick the cells that you want, that you know that they need, and leave the rest out. Okay, but to do that, you need to collect it individually. So looking at this form, your contact information is the title of the form. All right, they've already gone ahead and put it together for you. You might want to put contact information and then your team name after that, my team. And explain to the people who are getting the form what they're going to do with it. And first thing I would put up front is make sure they know it's confidential. The information is going to you only on your drive, not everybody else in the organization. So this form is to collect information that is required for efficient administration of the team. Your information is confidential. Okay, so name, I would change this. I would actually take, and what happens is you click on a cell. All right, this is a cell within the form. There's name, email, address, phone number, comments, and this is a very basic one, as you can tell. And so in this form, what we're going to do is we're going to split up the name. We need first and last name. So I'm just going to change this to last name. And it's a short answer. Short answer is 32 characters or less. And most last names can fit inside of 32 characters. If you don't think that will work, you can change it to paragraph, and it's unlimited number of characters. And it doesn't change what your output looks like. But we're going to leave it as short answer. Okay, and then we're also going to come down here and we're going to click on required because we want to make sure that they fill out the last name and they don't skip over this question by accident. Mostly it's just by accident. They were going down the form and missed it. So if you put required on here, when somebody fills out the form on their phone or on their iPad or on their desktop or on their laptop, that it won't let them submit the form unless this question is answered. Okay, so You come down here to the more information. You could also put in here a description, like please just put in your true last name, or a response validation. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so now I've got the last name and I want first name and I want all of this to be the same. All I have to do is come right here where it says duplicate, and I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to change last name to first name. And now I get the first and the last name, because some people just want to know the last name of your kids. All right. So what else do I need? Well, there's a number of other things you could need. All right. You certainly need the email, but whose email are you asking for? Are you asking for the player's email? So be specific about that. Player email. Make sure they know. Short answer usually does it. Might want to make that a paragraph just to be safe in case you have some long drawn out email. Okay, and down here, what they've already done under the email field is they've used what's called a response validation. And the validation is they're going to take the text that the person puts in there, and they're going to validate that it's a valid email address. And if they put in something, they mistype and put in .co and they meant .com, it'll kick it out and tell them that's not a valid email address. It will tell them as they're typing it in that it's not valid, all right, until they complete the email address. So response validation is awesome because you don't get bogus data if you use it to validate what you're asking them to put in. So player email, and I'm going to go ahead and put primary parent email. Now you might put in that you want mom's email, dad's email, everybody's email. All right, that's fine. It's up to you. All I did was I copied so that I get the same settings. It's required. Response has been validated to make sure it's a complete email address. That way I always get a good email. All right, so I'm going to keep going down. Address I'm going to turn into street address, and then I'm going to put in here a little description that says, please put in your street name and number only, because they're going to go to the next question, and what I'm going to ask them for, I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this, and I'm going to put city, and then I'm going to duplicate it again, and I'm going to put zip code. And again, the reason I'm doing that is in some forms that you're going to have to submit to different people, you might be able to put all that into one cell. Or they might give you a spreadsheet that says city in this cell, street address in this cell, and zip code in this cell. And then if you don't have them in separate cells, you're going to have to do work. And that's not what we're about here. We want to reduce your work. All right, so we have last name, first name, player email, primary parent email, street address, city, zip code, phone number. All right, whose phone number? All right, up here we have player emails, and now we need to know, is this the player's phone number? All right, if you have youth kids, probably doesn't matter because they might not even have phones, but if we're talking high school kids, they definitely have phones, and middle school for that matter. So player phone number, again, we want a phone number in there. We want a primary parent phone number. Okay. And we want these to be required. We need their phone numbers. Again, recheck your stuff, make sure that everything is required so that they don't end up missing something by accident that you really needed to have. Okay, a few other things we might want to have. And again, it's up to you. You can leave a comment section in there. I would encourage you to do that because there may be some things, if this is your first meeting with your team and you want to get some feedback on what they're looking for, what their goals are, what their aspirations are about your program and where they want to go, you might just put that in here. What are your questions that I can help you with. And obviously you want to leave this as a long answer text. You could leave it as not required. Maybe they don't have any questions. You don't want to force them to put something into the cell that they don't really have any reason to put into. Okay, other things you might need: player, jersey, number, request. Now, to do this, you don't want to have to type in, you can have them just type in their number, or you can have them select from a list of checkboxes, for example. And when you do this, you can use a standard Google Sheet. And I'm just going to create real quickly a Google Sheet. And I'm going to put the numbers of a roster: 1, 2, 3. And that'll fill in a second. Once I have 3 cells filled in, I can do an autofill on the rest by dragging down that corner and going down to, let's say I have 60 different numbers. So then I can just copy all of that out of Excel. I can come over here to option 1 and I can Command V, and I can drop it right into that list. Now, they may not have a request for a number, or they may, so I'll leave it as not required. All right. And they can select, when using checkboxes, they can select multiple numbers. That way, if you can't give them their primary number, what's their secondary number? Okay, and you can do that a lot of different ways. So we're going to put jersey number in there. We're going to put player date of birth. You might want to specify player in case the parents give you theirs. All right, and we can validate this one was required, and we can go through and include just the year. Okay, so month, day, and year. They'll just pull up a calendar and select their date. You might want to put in graduation year. And again, I'll go ahead and pick a date, or maybe I'll just leave that as short answer so they can put in a year, or I could go ahead and put in multiple choice. Okay, I could say 2018 or 2019 or 2020 or 2021. Okay, and they have to answer that one. All right, and there's a number of other things that you might ask for. The bottom line is you just want to make it easy for your parents and your players to just go into this form, select what they need to fill it out, and send it to you. So let's get to sending. All right, up here at the top, we can format this a little bit if we want to. We can go into the color palette, and if your team has a different color and they're orange and you want to have orange there, that's great. If you want to upload a picture, okay, you can use some of the preloaded pictures. We talked about this in a previous tutorial. Or you could upload photos from your computer, and it just brings down your different photos that are available on your computer. Okay, so doesn't matter. You can leave it uncustomized. I'll just cancel this out. But what you want to do though is go into your settings. Okay, if you want to collect email addresses and get response receipts to see when they submitted it, you can do that, or they can see that they submitted it, and it will send them a response receipt. You can have that chosen as always, so when they submit, it'll send them an email at whatever email they put in. If they request it, it'll say at the end of the form, would you like a receipt for having submitted this? Some people really want to have that so they can tell you that they submitted the form. So you might want to put it in there if the respondent requests it. That way they can select. Okay, requires sign-in. If you want to limit it to one response, then they will need to sign into Google. So if they don't have a Google account, you might want to leave that unselected. Respondents can edit after submit. I suggest you do this so they can go back in if they made a mistake. See summary charts of text and responses. They don't necessarily need that, but you can put it down and it will just show their response. Again, they need to know it's confidential. So we're going to look at that. We're also going to make a presentation here. You can show the progress bar so they know how far towards getting done they are getting. And you can shuffle the question order, but this really doesn't have anything to do with our form. Okay, and then put a little confirmation message here. Thanks for submitting your contact info. Click Save. All right, now to get it to them, number of different options. Okay, if you want to type in emails, then you can do that here. I don't suggest it. What I do suggest is that you go onto the link and shorten the link. Okay, so just click here on where it says shorten link. And this, if you have a team meeting at the very beginning of the year, you could take this, copy it, put it on your screen or on a whiteboard or on a butcher paper in your meeting room. People can go right to that form, and as they're there in the meeting, they could fill out all the information you need, and before they leave, you can confirm with them that you got their information. People like to play with their phones at these meetings. They're going to do it regardless. Why not give them something productive to play with? And this is just a good way to do that. So then you could copy this and put it in an email. So I'm going to come over here to my mail. And I'm just going to go ahead and send this to myself so you can see what it looks like. All right, we're going to compose a new email. We're going to paste in that link and we're going to send it. And as you can see, here it is. There's the link. I click on it and we start typing in information. So it must be a valid email address. See how when I started typing in gibberish, it gave me a red screen? So I'm going to type in my email. Okay, so again, see how it and then voila, it lets you go. All right, street address, city, zip code, phone number, parent phone number, all right, don't need to answer this. I want to be number 1, of course. If I can't be 1, I'll be 2 or 3. And date of birth. Again, gives me the format and graduation year. Send me a copy of my responses. And then down here, little CAPTCHA. I'm not a robot. Select all the squares with street signs. Next. Oh, didn't like that. That one and that one. Verify, submit. Okay. So once that's been submitted, what you're going to come over here and you're going to see is I have one response. That quick. Instantaneous. If somebody thinks they did it at your meeting and they want to know, you'll know right away. Just open this up. You can see a summary of the responses, and it'll have all the different responses. All right, you can go to individual and look at this person. All right, there's only one right now. And here's the best part, and this is why I'm pushing Google Forms so hard on you guys. And this is it. Create a spreadsheet. All right. You can select your destination. You can get email notifications for new responses. If you want an email for everybody that sends it in, I don't think you do, but you might. Select response destination, download responses to a CSV, print all responses, and delete all responses. If you delete all the responses, you can resubmit this form next year and get a whole new fresh set of responses. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click right here on this Google Sheets icon. And it's going to tell me create a new spreadsheet, and it's going to use the name of the form. Or I can select an existing spreadsheet and I can send this as a tab into the existing spreadsheet if I want. If I want to keep them year after year and just have a new tab. Doesn't matter. I'm going to create a new one. All right, and it's going to open up that spreadsheet for me, and here you have what I consider to be the real godsend of Google Forms. Timestamp, you can just delete out that column. Email address, last name, first name, email, everything that you asked for is now in its own cell. So if I need to submit this roster to somebody else and they don't want to know jersey numbers and graduation years or date of birth and all the parent information, all they want is the last name, first name, and graduation date, whatever, I can just delete out the columns I don't need, make a copy of that and send it. Or I can make a copy of this to a separate file and have a different file for each organization that wants information from me. That's the beauty of Google Forms. Right here, I just created my roster and I didn't type in a thing. All right, I just created the form once. I can use this form every year. If I want to add a field to it, that's not a problem. It'll add it to this spreadsheet. This is a live spreadsheet. As people are inputting data, it will grow and you'll be able to see all of the information you need. And you didn't have to put any of it in. That's the key. All right. I hope this is helpful. It's been truly huge time saver for me. Again, I suggest get that short link to your form, put it up on the board, let people fill it out as you're going over stuff, team administration stuff in your meeting. And by the end of the meeting, you're going to know who was at the meeting. You're going to know all of their information, and you're going to have a spreadsheet that you can use for every possible need you have for your team's roster. Hope this is helpful. I know it's helpful, and I hope you use it and really save yourself some time so you can be out there on the field getting your kids coached up. Have a good day.